So also, we got to wait a bit at the beginning, wait for people to start seeing this. I'm going to start sharing the socials. And then once we have one or two people
kicking in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
No problem. Let them come. I dare them. Let them get in here. Come in here. I'll tear you up.
Filthy animals.
You
lovely people.
Love all these people to come in here and listen to me prattle on for an hour. Good. High energy. I'm coming in hot.
Yes.
I'm hot.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Love it. Love that energy.
Excited. I got my finest glass of boxed Wallaroo tail.
Ooh, nice.
I'll tell you what, Chris. What do you got going
mysterious, there? It's some mysterious beer, but yeah, it's like a cup made out of a horn. My parents bought it because it was as seen on Game of Thrones, even though I haven't really seen an entire episode of Game of Thrones.
That's bad. You know what? Maybe this was their hint. They were like, we really need to get Chris into Game of Thrones. I think the best way in is to get him a sweet gift. Pique his curiosity.
My family, like my mom and dad, watched Game of Thrones, but it wasn't like the sex and violence that turned them off. It was more the politics that turned them off. They were like, I don't know.
That red tape.
Yeah, exactly.
I have watched the first season of Game of Thrones and the last season of Game of Thrones, and at the end of it, I said, I get it.
Yeah,
and I felt no need to watch season 2 through whatever. I was like, I pretty much got all of it just with one and the last one.
Exactly. Don't need to go through all that heartbreak of all your favorite characters dying over and over and over again.
Never met them. Don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trick to not feeling sad. Don't meet anybody.
You're right.
Solves it.
Just stay in your apartment. Don't talk to a soul.
Just lone wolf it through your entire life. You'll never miss anybody. It's okay. I'm just trying to help out the youths. My sage advice.
All right. I'm just gonna share it to one last thing, and then we can get going. Start talking about spooky movies.
God, I love to talk about spooky movies, Chris.
I mean, that's essentially what this whole show is. It's pretty much like going back and forth of like, have you seen this? No, I haven't, but have you seen this?
That's perfect. That's all I do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I saw you joined Letterboxd, or at least you added me on Letterboxd.
Yes.
We are friended on Letterboxd now. Very exciting. It's the only social media platform I ever want to interact with anymore. I don't want to hear about your jobs or your kids, but I do want to know what you thought of like The Intern or whatever.
I haven't seen The Intern, so maybe we'll start there.
I have not seen it yet. I just know that a friend of mine recently watched it because they are working their way through all of those Myers movies right now.
Okay.
So it was the top of my mind. I think it was the last Letterboxd review I saw before I sat down to do this.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think we could start this thing. So
let's kick it off, man.
All right. Well, let me just do my introduction spiel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Gut the Punks on the Bucketlist Entertainment Network. It is the show where we talk about spooky movies and loud music. And my guest today, or tonight rather, is Alex Cartier of such local Montreal bands as Hashed Out and formerly of Prevenge. Should I say formerly?
Yeah,
that sounds like he got kicked out of the band that actually just broke up.
I don't know what the appropriate nomenclature is for when the band just like stopped being. Let's say formerly of Prevenge.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
First of all, though, I just want to say thanks for your initial support of this show, because especially when you start off something new like this, you don't really know if anybody's going to pay attention. You don't really know if anybody's going to care. So the fact that you're paying attention means the world to me. So thank you very much.
Happy to do it. Chris, you built a little thing directly inside my wheelhouse. I peeped into my wheelhouse. I said, "Oh, look at this. This is everything I like to talk about endlessly to the irritation of everybody around me and my loved ones. So any outlet for that, I applaud. I'm happy about it. It's a fun show, and I'm glad you're doing it.
Awesome. Well, before we get into like the whole back and forth about movies we've seen and movies we haven't seen, let's talk a bit about your music. Have you been doing any musical projects during the pandemic?
That man, global pandemics kind of really put a damper onto doing. I won't even cap it at music, like anything, like doing just about anything. It was tough. I played it real quiet. The shutdown of the entire world kind of coincided with like, all my bands kind of like ending, and a very and my mid to cruising into my late 30s, and a very real sense of maybe I'm done. Do you know what I mean? Can you like I hit a point where it's just like not sadly or anything, just like I'm 36 and I'm pretty busy and I work and do all kinds of stuff, and like, hey, maybe I just don't do that anymore, which happens to people. But the last 2 years really made it clear how much I kind of missed doing it. Hashed out, jammed for the first time in 8 billion years a few weeks ago. And it felt very, very good. So it is something I'm gonna kind of make a point of pursuing more. But man, no, last couple of years have been just keeping my head low and hoping to just kind of make it through,
And prior to this, I was listening to your interview with the Taker Wider podcast, and you said something along the lines of you don't. It doesn't feel right when you're practicing just for nothing. Like you want to be like working towards something, either like you're writing songs or you're working towards a show or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said it on that podcast, and I think I say it pretty loudly, that if you catch me on the wrong day, like I functionally hate everything about being in a band except for like playing live shows. But like I'll rail about band practice, but it's not that I hate practicing in bands. It's that I fear the jam that is just because it's scheduled on that day, and God damn it, we're gonna do it because we jam on Tuesdays regardless of what we do. And once jam just kind of becomes like an excuse to sit around and drink beer, it's like I have other ways to scratch that itch that doesn't involve this, So I'm all about purposeful band practices and not being afraid to say, hey, let's not do this week because there's no reason for us to do this.
Right.
You're a band gent.
Yes.
I'm sure there are nights where you're like, I would prefer to stay in my home. Thank you. There is no reason for me to leave my home to go to a band practice.
I mean,
you might be a cheerier type than me.
During the pandemic, we've been pretty good at that, actually. Like, we still do like the whole weekly band practice, even though it's not clear when we're going to be playing a show again. But I mean, we have a whole album written, like good to go. So who knows what we'll do with that? But it is hard, especially when you don't even know when things are going to open up, when your next show is going to be. And I remember prior to the pandemic, because technically Hashed Out played their last show back in 2017, but then you started playing like shows again in 2019, right?
Basically 2 shows, I think.
Yeah.
And we were working towards writing and then oopsie doodle, there was a global pandemic. Whoops. And it just like, I mean, and then full stop to that. And now we're all kind of like, over the course of 2 years, we kind of like shook the dust out of our hair and cleared the debris and met up again to kind of give it another go. So it's, there've been some stop starts a little bit, but we were already planning on starting up again. And then again, oopsie doodle. Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I saw that you were playing again. I was like, oh man, they're like one of my favorite bands. But I couldn't make it to those 2 shows. But I was like, there'll be more shows. It'll be fine. And then
clearly,
global pandemic.
God gets you. You never know. You turn a corner, global pandemic. Never see it coming.
So one thing I did want to ask you about though is because I think I started really following you when you were in the Prevenge days, and I thought that like transition that you did from like the pop punk of Prevenge, I guess you could call it pop punk,
That
to
was a
like
pop punk
the
band,
more
yeah.
like crusty hardcore of Hashed Out, where I guess like you're embracing like this like kind of darker side of you. I mean, there are like some like depressing lyrics in Prevenge, but there's still like kind of like an upbeat melody to it, whereas
Yeah.
I mean, Hashed Out was just like pure nihilistic cosmic pessimism, if you will.
Yeah. I think I've got pet themes. I think it shows. And I think that those two bands are two sides of the same coin, where like I think Prevent stuff was like more concretely about just kind of like the day-to-day grime of being alive and scrambling through and moving from place to place and then going back to bed at the end of the day. And I think Hashed Out was just kind of the flip side of that, where it was also just kind of like, and also we are adrift in a universe that is completely random and doesn't care about us, and what does that mean for our day-to-day and going to work and stuff. So it's all delicate layers of the same tasty onion.
And do you find like that kind of same darkness in horror movies? Like, do you feel like you're seeking out that kind of like pessimism in horror movies as well?
I don't know. So because I definitely have movies where I get turned off of movies that are too bleak. I think my best guess, and not to say that like I don't want any like conflict or bleakness in a horror movie, but I need a movie that at least has a glimmer of hope, even if that hope doesn't pay off. I think it's all the more effective. Where a movie that is just, I mean, and you've watched billions of horror movies as well, and the feeling of a movie where it is immediate that no one is getting out of this, and not even that, but it's like where it's almost like to the point of like, well, then what's the point of even this exercise? If this was just an excuse to watch these people just have the worst time that they cannot scrabble out of, then what's the emotion here? What's the human hook? So I do react to that darkness and that bleakness in horror. But similarly, I think, and maybe it's not paying off, but to Hashed Out, I think a glimmer of hope is important to making that work.
All right, so let's leave the band stuff aside and just jump full into these movies.
Full tilt.
Yes, full tilt. That's the word I was looking for. So
let's do it.
So you do like an annual movie marathon called Spooky Scary. First of all, is that a 30 Rock reference?
It's 100% a 30 Rock reference. I don't know why I find the spooky scary just innately funny. I have no explanation for it. It pleases me to see it written down so academically. Spooky, scary. I can't explain it beyond that. It might just be funny to me. It's 100% from Werewolf Bar Mitzvah from 30 Rock, which I think is the greatest delivery of spooky, scary. Yes. So but yeah. Annual, just ripping through as many horror movies as I can, while still being functional, while still putting on the veneer of like a functional adult man.
And do you do it just for October? So because like I saw that you watched like 64 movies like this year. Is that just for October?
Yeah, that was just October. So so it dates back a lot of years. It dates back to I don't know. I've been doing it myself for just like, I think just last like 4 or 5 years, where I just it indulges all the parts of like my mental illness that I feel like need to be like distracted. I'm someone who can sit and watch movie after movie after movie, and I love them, and it's what I love thinking about and talking about with people. And in October, it's just this great opportunity to just save up as many spooky movies as I can throughout the year and just absolutely liquefy my brain over the course of 31 days. It tapers off. I kind of hit my peaks the last couple of years where I think last year was like a 94 movie month where I really I hit I was doing 3 movies a day. So since then, this year was that's 64, I think 65 movies in the end, was a relatively chill October for me. That was October's where maybe, my partner would sit down for dinner. I'd be like, hey, let's just watch Taskmaster, or let's catch up on Great British Bake Off. No big deal. I don't need to be watching a horror movie every second of my waking life. Look at me. It's cool. It's cool, laid back Alex, who still watched 65 horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's still impressive because I was trying to do the 31 for 31 movie challenge. But some days I just struggle to actually watch a single movie because so much life stuff got on the way, and I'd be
tough.
drunk.
And sometimes you just don't have the mental energy to even for a 90-minute movie. And I had several. I think I had a full weekend where we had other stuff going on. I did not have it in me to sit down and watch a full narrative motion picture. But yeah. So I get that.
And I do like these one sentence reviews that you've made on your Letterboxd. Say for example, I wrote down your review for Green Room, just a chill Sunday evening movie.
Yeah, just having a nice time with just a cute little motion picture about punks at Siege. This is just going to be an ad for Letterboxd. I started really using my Letterboxd in earnest this past year and a half, in the pandemic. It is my favorite social media platform because it's also, I follow a couple of movie critics and stuff whose work I like. And it seems like this home for people who have to write about movies professionally and have to be erudite and, make important points and write, 500 words about a movie. Letterboxd allows them to just be lol, Will Smith is hot, and that gets to be their whole review. They can just it's fine. That's your initial thought. So I like Letterboxd for just being a place where I can just my first gut tossed off joke about a movie, and the librarian in me loves that I can just log everything I've watched and then lovingly look back over all the movies I watched and just know that I did, and they're there and in a list. It hits all my buttons.
Mm-hmm. And what were some of the favorite movies you watched this year?
I tried to watch older stuff this year. I don't know if you're anything like me. My experience of the world, not universal. Always had a block with basically pre-1960 movies. Just it always felt like it takes more of an effort for me to want to. I mean, it was a different time and the pacing's different, and so I tried to push to watch more older films. I watched Carnival of Souls for the first time, which have you seen Carnival of Souls? Really, really cool movie. It's good and genuinely creepy, about a woman who moves to a new town after a near-death experience and just seeing ghouls all over the place. And it rips. Also I don't think it hits 90 minutes. I think it's a breezy 75 minutes, easy watch. So stuff like that. And I watched another one called Eyes Without a Face, which is, to my understanding, a classic that I had never seen. Also was a lot of fun. I really, really loved it. So that was my one big stretch. And Deerskin. You ever seen Quentin Duprie's other movies? He's the guy who did Rubber, the Killer Fire.
So and he has another one coming out soon too, Mandibles.
Yes,
I think it's
about
called.
A fly. I think it was a Fantasia, wasn't it? Or am I making that up? Maybe it wasn't. It was doing the festival.
I think Fantastic Fest. Yeah,
that's probably what it was. About two criminals who find a giant fly in the trunk of a car, I think is the premise, and they become friends. So I'm very, as anyone like me who loves videos of unlikely animal friends, I'm fully on board for these two dudes and their best fly friend. But he made one 2 years ago called Le Dame, or Deerskin, about, and it's I looked it up earlier. The name's going to escape me, but it's the guy from The Artist, Jean. I want to say Dujardin, but I don't know if that's his last name. But the guy who's in The Artist,
Right.
Years ago, he plays just a guy who finds an ad for a deerskin jacket on like Craigslist, becomes obsessed with it, abandons his family and throws his life away, and spends all of his money on this deerskin jacket.
God.
And then embarks on a crusade to make sure that his jacket is the only jacket in the world and that no one else wears a jacket, to disastrous results. Truly beautiful movie. I really, really loved Deerskin. I cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, I watched, it's, you watch enough movies in a month. I watched a lot of bullshit because you got to take a chance sometimes. Sometimes, it's not clear. And then sometimes you get a lot of gems, Deerskin was one of them. Yeah. You did one movie a day, like try
one
to go
movie
for
a day.
31?
Yeah, I was also following like a theme a day. So I was given a theme and I would try to find something that would like fit in that. Some of it was like very broad, like horror comedy, but some of it was very kind of vague. Like this one day I struggled with was called Autumn Vibes, and I'm like, the fuck? What movie gives me autumn vibes? And like the entire time I'm watching this movie, is like, is this autumn vibes? Is this autumn vibes? Like, is that a leaf?
Swing? Can I tell you
Sure,
what?
go ahead.
House of the Devil, Ty West.
Oh yes,
that's got autumn vibes.
Yeah,
she's got a nice toque on, light jackets,
running through the forest at the end.
Yeah. House of the Devil, autumn vibes. There you go. That's a freebie. If ever it comes up again.
Yeah. But I also like this other aspect that you're doing with your spooky, scary thing. You're making Spotify playlists, and you always like kind of concentrate on like a different theme for each one.
Yeah. I again, anything that allows me to like compile or make lists of things is a running theme in my life. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really fun to like put together like a theme playlist. I don't have the intelligence or skill to make like a a really smooth playlist with peaks and valleys, but like I can find all the songs that have witch in the title. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I like putting together spooky, scary mixes. I've had a lot of luck finding like a lot of really fun songs that aren't like just Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo, 15 times. It's fun to work on a theme. I think I did this year. I did the one that I called Gut the Punks, which was my
thank you for that.
My little like my pleasure, my little 25-minute punk burner playlist. I did a country one. That one I was very happy with. A little like kind of country bluegrassy spooky playlist that starts with dueling banjos, just to unsettle anybody who tries to listen to it from the top.
I really like that one because I've been getting into like horror westerns or western horrors lately, and I feel like that really goes along with that.
Absolutely. Have you seen? I watched it last year. Bacurau, Brazilian movie. Yes, Brazilian movie called Bacurau. Bacurau.
Okay, I really like Brazilian horror, so I should definitely look at that.
Highly recommended. Kind of pretty cross genre. I wouldn't strictly call it a horror movie. Okay. It's got bits of horror. It's got big Western vibes. It's a town under siege. Highly recommended. Just on the topic of horror area and Westerns. Bacurau fucking ruled. That was the one that blew me away. Like last year was like the number one of the pile. But I recommend it to everybody. I think it's on Criterion Network if you have that for streaming, but great movie.
I really should be making a list of all these movies that we talk about because I mean, after these shows, I'm just like thinking, oh no, what did we just talk about? Like it just like
inundated.
escapes my mind as soon as like this show is finished. So I should be writing this down as we're going on. Maybe I'll do that.
mean, Chris, not to plug Letterboxd again, but they got a watch list. You can keep track of everything you want to watch. Why don't I work there?
Right? Come
What's
on.
the reach? What's the reach of this? Who from Letterboxd is going to see this and say that Cartier kid got something?
I don't know. Maybe one of the 6 people are representatives of Letterboxd.
One of you. If every one of you calls 10 people, and all those 10 people call 10 people, eventually we're going to reach someone who works for Letterboxd.
Mm-hmm.
That's my plan. We're going to pyramid scheme this.
So, like I said, like when you're creating something, you don't know who's gonna respond to this. Has anybody responded to your spooky scary lists at all?
It would be an absolute lie if I said it wasn't really 99% just for me and me alone. I've got friends who I largely started really tracking it because I had friends who knew I was just watching a medically inadvisable amount of horror movies in a month and wanted to know like what I was watching, or like just wanted to know the list of like what have you watched and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I keep track of what you're watching so I can like see if there's anything I want to watch. So that was the big impetus, was just like amongst the like 10 or so friends who like also want to keep up with what I'm watching, just having somewhere to just track it all. And kind of largely pushing it all to my Letterboxd account just kind of made it easier to streamline everything and have like one place where you can just like see a list of everything I've watched and kind of what I briefly thought about it. I tried to the internet culture is poison. So there's definitely like a year or two there where I was just like, I'll try to like have a presence and like I'll write like reviews of every movie and like try to post them at times where people will see them. And that's untenable if like that's not all you do. I lost interest in it really quickly when I was trying to do that. And I had no real interest in like growing a brand. I just wanted to watch as many horror movies as I could. So it felt silly. It felt like throwing my movie watching into just like a void to like no one. So I think reaffirming that this is really for me, it was I think healthy for me. So anybody who does want to jump in and see what is being watched has somewhere where they can follow along, and I get to just like sit in my little hovel and watch as many spooky movies as I can.
Damn, that's probably an approach I should take with this show.
I mean, it's I say this as someone who I won't say I don't have a work ethic. I have a very different work ethic, I think, than other people, and it's probably comparatively lacking to most people who like work hard to do things. I have ADHD. I give up on things really quickly when it seems to take up too much time. So, by all means, I know people who've done cool stuff and start shows and start podcasts, and like if you are not me and actually put work into it, it's a fully rewarding thing to do, and deserves the attention. This was something that I was just like, it was freeing for me to really be like, I know this is for me. I'm not watching 90 horror movies a month for other people. I recognize that this is just me channeling my mania for myself, to keep my mania, I guess, off the streets and off of drugs or whatever, just keeping it home and with me.
And speaking about your home, how does your partner feel about horror movies?
My partner loves spooky movies. She's a bigger sci-fi fan. So right now we are engaging in a light sci-fi month as a little a little digestif after October. Yes. Spooky. Yeah. She loves horror movies. We watched them together. She was when I would go to work and she'd be home during the day a lot last year, and rightfully I watched 94 last year. She probably watched in the hundreds because she was also just kind of like at home during the day and watching movies when I was at work. So she's every bit the trooper that I am when it comes to it. So we've got a happily spooky household.
That's great. And your dogs, are they fine?
No dog. I've got the cat,
no dog.
and
Okay.
he's a black cat. And he's great at watching movies, except when there's a bird on screen. Then he absolutely loses his goddamn mind and tries to jump through the TV to get it. So we kind of have to see it coming a little bit. We were just watching. We just burned through the miniseries, the '94 miniseries of The Stand, the Stephen King book.
Oh, okay, yes.
And there's a lot of prominent like crow action. There's just a crow always around watching what they're doing, and boy, oh boy, man, my cat just absolutely fucking lost it. Every 2 seconds having to get up and like swat him away, or he's just gonna pitch the whole TV over. So yeah, he loves scary movies, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Big fan. And Chris, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Oh,
I saw that you watched Saint Maud.
Yes.
I want to talk about Saint Maud. Did you enjoy it?
It was interesting, to say the least. I grew up in religious households, so I related a lot to the character who's like just trying to save these people around her, like because she just believes that they're lost, that they're going to hell, and that she's like their only chance for salvation.
Yeah, it's I also grew up Roman Catholic, so there's a lot of that. The senses of deep-seated repression and having that kind of spill out in ways that you can't quite bottle up forever or hold on to. Man, that's a movie that is. There are movies with like heavy vibes like that.
Mm-hmm.
That it's really interesting to me when a movie can have a mood that heavy and still find time for like deft little touches of humor. Saint Maud is a quietly funny film in moments. The actress who plays Maud and the actress who plays the woman that she cares for both have these like, I don't know. It's not a lot of movies that have time for like little saucy little touches of like a gentle humor. I feel like a lot of people don't let them get funny because I maybe there's a fear that you veer too much into like more funny than scary. But Saint Maud has I remember it having like really nice little deft little touches of humor that I found lovely and really like heightened everything else.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, when it comes to that vibe, I feel like it has a very A24 vibe. Like I feel a lot of A24 movies have a similar vibe to Saint Maud.
Yeah, the heightened, the elevated horror vibe.
Mm-hmm. Where it's like kind of slow burning. You still don't have an idea of what's going on exactly, and you might never know.
Someone strokes a single stroke of a violin really slowly.
Yeah.
On all the trailers. A20. They do good work. Let's give it up for A24. What did I just watch? I watched Lamb.
Oh.
Watched
How was
Lamb.
that?
That's a movie. That's a whole thing. We enjoyed it fine. It's not what I would say classically a horror film in so much that I don't think its aim is to horrify. It plays out more like a fairy tale, like a folk tale. You'll fall in love with this little lamb. You've seen the trailer, the basics. There's a little spoilers, anyone hasn't seen the trailer, but there's a little lamb human hybrid baby, and it is adorable, dressed in its like Zara kids fall collection best. You'll fall in love with this little lamb baby. I tell you what, it's a gorgeous movie that I enjoyed but didn't rave about. But there's worse ways to spend an hour and 48 minutes or whatever. But that's another A24. I'm pretty sure anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another A24. One thing I wanted to ask you about is what you thought about the reboot of the Slumber Party Massacre.
Ooh, did you watch it?
I did, yes, and I am a fan of like the originals as well.
So the original Slumber Party Massacre is very good. I don't think I've ever seen two between you and me and whoever watches this. I've never seen Party Massacre 2.
I think you'll
Although
enjoy
I
it.
remember
As a music man, I think you'll like it.
yeah, I know the VHS cover is burned into my brain because that's the one with he's got like the red guitar drill on the front, right? Yeah, I'll never. There are certain VHS covers, I don't know about you, that are just like I don't remember a lot of birthdays and phone numbers, but they're like the cover of Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard is just forever like burned in there. I really liked what the remake was doing. I think the only issue I had with it was I felt like they could have let that burn a little longer before the reveal in the film. Not to give away too much. I could have done with a little longer build up, but yeah, it was really fun. It's like a sci-fi original or something, right? Like didn't it play on TV?
Yeah, like sci-fi has been pumping out like a bunch of like reboots. You know, you have Chucky, the TV show going right now.
A show I'm very excited to get around to watching at some point. It's
pretty good so far. The 4 episodes I've seen is pretty good. They have like the Day of the Dead movie, which I don't know if it's a movie or a series, but I haven't been hearing that great things about it.
Okay.
But I mean, that's happening. The guy from Psycho Gorman is directing that.
Oh, that's a movie I got halfway through. You're a Psycho Gorman fan. It's a fun. I had a lot of fun with the half I watched. I should finish it, right? Like it's good.
I mean, the third act isn't that great, like compared to like, you know, the whole setup and the concept. But I mean, I love the characters. I love the practical effects. I love the costumes and the creatures in there. The
effects look great. Makeup all looked fantastic.
And I've spent way too much money to buy like toys of Psycho Gorman. They had like a campaign for like comic books, so I bought a bunch of comic books on Kickstarter. So,
okay, Chris, for you, I'll finish Psycho Gorman. I'll get.
All right.
It was. I think at the time I was watching it, it was a little winkier than I think I needed in that moment. It was like a little too like, you get it. But it is inarguably a lot of fun in that first half, and Psycho Gorman looks awesome. He's a huge horrifying monster. I'm on board. I'll get to it. But what was I? Slumber Party Massacre?
Yeah, I mean, we could move on to other movies too, if that's all you have to say about Slumber Party Massacre. But
I wish I had deeper thought. I love movies, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm a dumb person. I can't always articulate in the way that I see other people articulate like what I want to about movies. So do you ever have that struggle of just like trying to find something to say about certain movies other than like it was good and I liked it?
Especially like because when I have to like write a review for Nightmare on Film Street, you know, they have like a minimum of 800 words for every review, and sometimes I could only write maybe 200 before I hit a wall and like, okay, what do I talk about? Do I talk about the score? How did the score make me feel? Like, do I have to watch the movie again and specifically concentrate on the score or the lighting or the cinematography or something?
Yeah, just trying to like, I guess I can get 50 more words out of the second act turn. I'll see. It's tough, but yeah, Slumber Party Massacre. Hey everybody, highly recommended. It's a really, really fun movie. They do some really cool stuff story-wise that accentuates, I think, what the original Slumber Party Massacre was also trying to do. That's as much as I can say without blowing anything. It's a good flick.
I feel especially with like the female directors, because with the original Slumber Party Massacres, I feel like the female directors were under the thumb of Roger Corman, who's like,
that's
made it absolutely mandatory to have like a nude scene in the shower or something like that. And I feel like with the nude one, they kind of like turned that around where like the female director kind of had a bit more bit more freedom.
A little bit more push and freedom. I think, that's it's there's only so much you could do at a certain point in the early to mid 80s, making movies in that industry. It's even now it's a nightmare probably for both female directors, but then even worse. So yeah, that's largely the point. Is like, it seems like it's the same spirit, but clearly with more breathing room to actually flesh that out without having to tick any boxes that they would prefer not to have to tick. The also just the kind of female gaze of it all, and the the boys at the cabin, and
that was great.
The loving tender shots of pillow fights and backsides and shower scenes was chef's kiss, fantastic.
A lot of hunky boys in that one. Yeah,
a lot of hunky boys.
That was great. Okay, there's one more movie I need to talk to you about, because we talked a bit about it over Instagram, but I want to talk about House, or Hausu.
Oh, what a fever dream! Hey, if anyone's never seen the Japanese Hausu, look, one line selling point: a girl gets bit in the butt by a disembodied head. That happens. That's great. What a magic movie. I mean, you're a fan. We discussed it a little bit on Instagram. Was this your first time seeing it?
Yeah, it was my first time seeing it, like maybe a couple of weeks ago. I feel like I need to watch it again, because I feel like it hasn't really like seeped into my pores just yet.
Can I tell you, it rewards rewatches. Truly, okay. A movie so bonkers packed with loud visuals. I think it needs a second rewatch, because the score is so present, so loud over everything that's happening. Like I clocked it on this. Like, this was like maybe my third or fourth watch of the movie. And I was watching with my partner, and we're just like, boy, that theme in that score is really loud and never stops for an entire like hour and a half. There are very few truly quiet moments in that movie, in terms like without like score or anything. So I think because it's kind of so densely packed with like a lot of stuff you have to wrap your brain around, one of those movies that really rewards like 2 or 3 watches whenever you get a chance to sit down with it. I think you can pluck different things out of it every time.
Definitely. So I have a few more questions for you, but we can go into like a Q&A after that. For anybody who's still watching, you can comment only, but I'm only going to see your comments on the Bucketlist Entertainment page. So if you're watching this on my feed or any other page, what you want to do is go onto the Bucketlist Entertainment and comment there, and then we can see your comments and we could take your questions there. But this is kind of a loaded question, but what's your favorite all-time movie?
All time? I mean, if I'm the not cool answer is probably the Muppet Movie, man. Like, if I'm really just picking one,
I was going to ask about that. What's the deal with that? Because I went on your letterbox and that was like your number one. Could you explain that?
Here's the thing about that is that the Muppet Movie is a beautiful film. It's a wonderful film. Amazing puppet work. Like, truly, Kermit rides a bicycle in that movie, and you have to wrap your head around how they made Kermit the Frog ride a bicycle in that movie. I'm a big sucker for let's put on a show kind of stuff, and I'm also like, I'm a diehard Muppet fan from from childhood. The jokes hit. The guest stars in that movie are fantastic. Steve Martin is in that. Not Dennis Hopper. I'm blanking right now just because I'm so excited talking about the Muppet Show.
I would love to see a Muppet movie with Dennis Hopper.
Truly, if you've never seen the Muppet Movie, you should see the Muppet Movie. It's truly, like, genuinely no arch, it's Alvin here in the comments knows the Muppet Movie is amazing. Rainbow Connection, one of the all-time great musical numbers. And it's just it's a really joyful film about weirdos finding each other and putting on a big show, which, like, that's just a universal story. Love the Muppet Movie. My answer of my favorite movie will change day to day, but like, the Muppet Movie stays in the top 10 conversation at all times.
So I imagine
Turn it on
you're.
you. What's your favorite movie of all time? Hot Shot?
I mean, for the longest time, it was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but
Good
I
pick.
feel like I haven't watched that in years. So I mean, maybe it might be time
That's
to
the
revisit
thing with
it.
favorite movies, is you can't watch them all the time, and sometimes a movie falls off the list only because you haven't like thought about it in a minute, and then as soon as you
Mhm.
remember the movie, you're like, oh right, I do love that movie forever. you know. Um, yeah, I don't know if you're the same, but like it kind of shifts depending on my mood.
Mhm.
Um, I've been thinking a lot about food movies, and I've had the movie Big Night on the mind a lot.
Okay.
With Stanley Tucci and Tony Shalhoub. Great movie about two brothers running a failing Italian restaurant who bet it all on one big dinner one night. So just like I guess I've just been hungry and just thinking about food movies, and like that's one of my favorite movies. Truly, like I could watch that every day. The Birdcage.
Mm.
I could probably watch The Birdcage, the Nathan Lane, Robin Williams one. I could watch that once a day. Be very happy for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, big list, constantly shifting.
Second question: what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
Mm. That's a good question. It's a good question. I've been listening to a lot of scores lately in a way that I didn't used to. I really love listening to the score. I love Carpenter scores. Those early ones. I love listening to the Assault on Precinct 13 score. Just walking around at night, feeling like a real creepo with that little
Yeah.
scary synth, and it's in my headphones. I'm like, ooh, I'm a nasty little creeper walking around listening to Assault on Precinct
Gonna
13.
bust into a cop station.
Ooh, look at me. Nobody knows. That's a great one. That's a very specific move. That's a walking around like a little creepo at night soundtrack. I listen to the Halloween soundtrack score casually. I just think it's just a good score. It's good work music.
Mhm.
What else? Recently, Titan had a great score
Okay.
and a great soundtrack. That's a recent favorite of mine. It's been getting a lot of play. But yeah, I didn't used to listen to scores until like really the last year or two. I just really started getting into. I think I just needed less music with lyrics,
Mhm.
and I didn't just want to listen to like jazz all the time.
Yeah.
And that seemed and it turned into like good work music. But yeah, I think overall probably like most Carpenter scores. Prince of Darkness is the one that I've been. That's
Oh yeah.
like heavy rotation film score. That score absolutely rips. That's a really really good one.
And finally, I'm contractually obligated to ask you this, but what is on your bucket list? Either in terms of a musician or in terms of movie fan or just in general.
Hmm. Hmm. What's on my bucket list? I would like to attend the Academy Awards. I don't know how it would happen.
Be a seat
I
filler.
don't know how it would happen. I'm an absolute nerd boy sucker for the pageantry of a big Hollywood award show. I my friends know I will every year try to host an Oscar party, and we do bets. I do a whole ballot, with like Google Forms and stuff. We have nicknames as prizes. We're ghouls, so we bet on the in memoriam how many names it'll be. The person who guesses the closest without going over is crowned the Undertaker for the year. So I would love to attend. I would love to attend Academy Awards. I'd settle for a Golden Globes. If that's all on offer, I'd settle for a Golden Globes. But I'd love to one day con my way into attending an actual Academy Award ceremony. I think would be an absolute thrill for me.
But it wouldn't be like a Tony Awards or Emmys or.
I mean, I would no. Okay, first of all, fuck the Emmys. No, I don't want to go to the Emmys. I'm taking a hard line against the Emmys. I want no part of the Emmys. I want no part of the Grammys. They don't seem fun. There, I said it. Those award shows don't
That's
seem
true.
like very much fun to be at. I mean, nothing can really top the Academy Awards for like
No.
sheer pomp and circumstance, you know? The Tonys would be really fun. The Tonys would be they'd be more fun than the Academy Awards, I think.
Mhm.
But I think in my heart, I know it to be true that I'd prefer to be at the Oscars. But again, I would accept a Golden Globes. Again, if that's all that's on offer, I'm not going to turn it away. I'll take a Golden Globe ticket.
I'm just thinking right now about Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, and how they went to the Academy Awards in drag on acid.
Yeah, well, I believe didn't they both attend in the JLo dress? Am I making that up? I could have sworn they both showed up in the like deep V green dress that JLo had worn to the Academy Awards like a year or two before. Maybe that's my own fanfic creeping into this, but I could have sworn. But yes, high on psychedelics at the Academy Awards.
I wouldn't be able to do that on psychedelics. It might have been like fun for the first like couple hours, but I mean, I feel like those award ceremonies just drag on and on.
They are long. I mean, that's televised. That's like what, like a 3 to 4 hour show if they lose control and it just like runs super long. I can't imagine what it's like when you also have to like arrive before they're even filming anything and like have to sit through literally all of it and then also have to like file out of the auditorium after the TV cameras have turned off, you know? That's on psychedelics? Fucking get out of here, bud. No way. More power to them. Absolute mad lads.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, unless people have some questions for you, Alex, we could wrap this up with a pretty little bow. Is there anything you want the people to know about Spooky Scary, about Hashed Out?
Look, I'm on Letterboxd. I don't know how to find me. Favorite horror movie protagonist antagonist dynamic? That's a question.
So like a Batman Robin? I mean, a
yeah.
Batman Joker kind of relationship?
I tell you what, current favorite, I just rewatched Jennifer's Body for the first time, I think since it came out. Like I'd seen it when it first came out and then I don't have to rewatch it. Really love the dynamic between her and Jennifer. That's a fun watch if no one has, if either anyone has not seen Jennifer's Body on like the shitty, dumb reputation it had at the time, just because everybody was like mad at girls and hated Megan Fox for some reason.
Yeah.
Great movie, and the relationship between those two girls is phenomenal. Man, yeah, Jennifer's Body rules.
I love that it's finally getting like a bit of like a renaissance.
It seems like it's really getting its moment. Karen Kusama's always been great. I mean, have you seen The Invitation?
I haven't.
Oh, Invitation's good. Yeah. Invitation's real good.
I know my partner who just commented has seen The Invitation.
Yeah, man, The Invitation rules. Yeah, Karen Kusama, like, you know, give her a Marvel movie and also like leave her alone if she gets to make one. That would be really fun. I would love to see her do that. No, you know what it was? It was after I watched Jennifer's Body and then we went to go see Halloween Kills. And at the end of Halloween Kills, I said, why doesn't anyone give Karen Kusama a Halloween movie? I would much prefer to see her direct one. Because I don't know if it's a hot take. I didn't care for Halloween Kills.
Oh. I don't think a lot of people did either.
Anyway, that would, you know what I was saying earlier about like a bleak movie feeling like too bleak and there's like no hope. Halloween Kills just felt sadistic in a way that was unpleasant for me to watch. And it felt like it was trumpeting, we know and are the true shepherds of the Halloween franchise, while also seemingly really misunderstanding what the Halloween movies are.
Yeah.
What the joy of the Halloween movies are a little bit. Although, and I'm seeing in the chat, yes, the kills were pretty cool. Yes. There were some pretty brutal ones. But But yeah, a movie that left me more bummed than excited about anything. And walking out just thinking like, if you're gonna hand a remake like this, if you have to hand a remake like this to anybody, toss one Karen Kusama's way. She is a phenomenal director. So yeah, go watch The Invitation. What are we doing on here? Go watch The Invitation.
All right, I'm getting off. All right. Awesome. So thank you so much for speaking to me, Alex. And thank you for your support of the show. I think just because of you and maybe my girlfriend, you're the reason why I'm continuing this.
Oh man, keep it up. I love it. Get on there, write me some Letterboxd reviews. I will like everyone. It's all I like interacting with anymore because the world is a nightmare and I just want to talk about movies. Thank you for having me, man. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, have a great night, and I'll see you around whenever we can see each other at shows or whatever.
Thanks, buddy. It was good talking to you.
All right. Take it easy. Bye.
Later.